lies and deceptions, there is one common denominator that remains the source of all things. And this is where it gets really exciting. Sound and resonance, the common links of creation. Modern science tells us that we live in an electromagnetic universe. Everything spins and vibrates. I'd like to correct that. I'd like to say that it's not an electromagnetic universe, it's a magneto-electric universe. There's a very big difference between the two. And again, it's a small little subtlety, but it's a very important subtlety, because magnetism is a thing that rules the universe, not electricity. Sound, magneticism, electricity. And you'll see how this chain reaction causes everything that we observe when we look up at the night sky or the nature around us. Everything in creation spins and vibrates. Everything has its own prime resonance frequency. Everything. And this is why once we can identify a prime resonance frequency of a bacterium or an atom or whatever it is, or a soccer field, we can then manipulate that object with its prime resonance frequency. Sound and resonance, common links of creation and religion. In Christianity, it's the word. Hinduism, it's Om. The Egyptians believed the universe was sung into creation, and the original people of Australia, not the original, I forgot to take the ab out. They're not abnormal. The original people of Australia. It's a twist on words there, remember? Keep that in mind. So it's the original people of Australia believe that the world was created with 3 sacred songs. And then we have the phenomenal similarities between the 6 days of creation in Christianity and the word that created everything, the 6 aspects of Om, and the 6 aspects of the all-seeing eye of Horus, and you start seeing the connections between all these ancient cultures and the creation stories. And then the creation stories get even more interesting when you read the Hindu creation story. It says, everything was so peaceful and silent that Vishnu slept undisturbed by dreams or motion. From the depths, a humming sound began to tremble. Spread, filling the emptiness and throbbing with energy. The night had ended. Vishnu awoke. That's just a little more dramatic version of saying God said, let there be light. Same thing. It's just great when you start seeing these connections. Sound is the source of all creation. Sound and resonance is responsible for everything. It is the breath of the Creator, the prime resonance frequency, and the source code for everything in creation, including our DNA. And this is from Dan Winter's brilliant documentaries and work on the DNA and sound and resonance. I would recommend you check out Dan Winter's work on that as well. How cymatics and sound helps to form and shape our DNA and the structure of our DNA based on the cymatics. And that word cymatics, it comes from Hans Jenny in the 50s and 60s, the brilliant work that he did, and showed us how sound and resonance is responsible for everything in creation. By now you should know that sound manifests physical form, and this is the most basic example. I think you might have to manipulate the sound here. It might get a bit hectic. If your ears are sensitive, just block your ears because it could get a bit loud. This is the most basic, fundamental demonstration how sound and resonance manifests into physical form. And I just cannot get enough of it. I can watch it millions of times. Every frequency has its own specific shape, a prime resonance frequency. Are you only looking at a 2-dimensional representation of a 3-dimensional effect? I think he actually uses rice on a metal plate here. this is just in the spectrum that we can hear. You can imagine in the low frequencies we can't hear, it has the same effect. The higher the frequency, the more complex the shapes. The lower the frequency, the more basic and the larger the shapes. The wavelengths get shorter and shorter as you go higher. Wavelength is actually also, it just doesn't quite do it, you know, because it's not really a wave that we're dealing with here. It's something very different, far more complex. It's almost at the edge of our... Okay, so the original people of Australia have a creation story that says time began when the supernatural beings awoke and broke through the surface of the earth. So imagine the surface of the earth being something like this, that metal plate being the surface of the earth, and the supernatural beings broke through the surface of the earth, and they created the surface of the earth with 3 sacred songs. This is from Hans Jenny's brilliant video, Cymatics. This is powder on a metal plate. It's not a liquid or a jelly, it's powder. You can see landscapes being formed here over extended periods of time. Mountains can form, valleys, volcanoes, all to do with the sound of the earth, coming out of the earth. Now watch that.
We can recognize the various patterns of the vibratory fields. They move to and fro, unite, and separate again according to the vibratory state of the surface formed by the membrane.
So it's interesting that I linked this to the Aboriginal people or original people of Australia and the 3 sacred songs, and it's very similar to this picture that I took from an aeroplane flying over Western Australia, and you can start seeing how that kind of landscape would have been formed from the cymatics of the sound of the earth itself.